Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Rogue Monk, or Sean for the real name. I've had the nickname Rogue Monk for probably around 6 or 7 years now. When a good friend of mine, Nicky, just jokingly mentioned about me receding hairline and just joked saying I should call myself Rogue Monk because it resembled, well, somewhat resembled a monk apparently, and it's just stuck from there. Where I was photographing on one of his gigs at the Intake Club, which was a brilliant little club in Mansfield that had various club nights or bands on. It's a great little venue, but unfortunately it closed down a few years ago. But yeah, just a little bit in depth about me and what's been happening over the last couple of years. Most of you'll know I more recently quit drinking because I had an addiction to alcohol. I was a borderline alcoholic for 20 years or so. Went through drink therapy back end of 2021, early 2022 with a charity called Change Grow Live, who deal with alcohol and drug addiction therapy and help people manage to whatever they want to achieve through their services. So I went through that, got discharged because they deemed it to be successful, and I managed to achieve a goal for the most part of drinking 2, maybe 3 times a month, but limit how much I was drinking, which again it worked for the most part. I did have a few little blips here and there where I did go a little bit overboard and indulge in drinking quite a bit, not to the extent I was at, but it was enough to be that borderline issue again where I had to stop myself. But the positive on that is I was able to stop myself from taking it further and drinking more and more and more, and was actually able to control and stop for a while. And then back earlier this year I was just doing some photos, and I decided after that night, because I'd had a few drinks that night with friends, and got up the next day, and the hangover it wasn't the worst I've had, but it was enough to make me realise that I didn't want to drink at all from there. And I did quit drinking. I just decided to quit drinking there and then. Did have 4 beers on the 29th of July, and since then I've been completely sober. And while it was strange adapting to a sober life, it became more enjoyable, and prefer actually doing things and remembering it, which is a novelty, because a lot of the time I was or drinking, as most of you know. I think it must have been a thing of what day Sean's sober, but you know, it was few and far between. But yeah, that was the end goal, was to stop drinking from there, and I've successfully been sober since the 29th of July. So yeah, that's been part of what's happened over the last couple of years. Last year back in February of 24th of February last year, 2021, we received an email from our now previous landlord's agent to say that he was downsizing his portfolio and was decided to sell the property that we were living in, which wasn't the greatest of news because we were about to go for our anniversary, wedding anniversary meal, which we didn't properly enjoy because we just found out that later that year we were going to be evicted. So everything went well. We started to save as much as we could for that, but what didn't help was private renting at the time. As most people have found now, that it was getting really expensive to private rent. So the only option we were able to take up was going on the council waiting list, which anyone who's familiar with the council list it is all very last minute, and that's how it works. From what I gather, for most councils, is they've got a process to go through, and while it's not ideal as a whole, it's just a situation we were dealt with. So at this point I was still drinking, and that didn't help the situation, because obviously with stress the go-to thing for me was drinking. And we went that year having to work out what we were doing, how we were doing things, storage, what happens with that. So it comes down to the last few months of us living there when the actual eviction process started. It was very stressful, and anyone who's been through it will tell you the same thing, that it's an awful situation to be in. And the Section 21, I think I'll probably cover that in another video more in detail, because this video is just a bit of about me in the last couple of years. Although that is part of the video today, it's just me just generally rambling and bringing everyone up to speed on what I've been doing and what's been going off. So we did get put into temporary accommodation in Alfreton Travelodge for about 2 weeks, which was an experience to say the least, where Sooty, who was just getting comfy on the bed there, obviously ignoring the camera again, he had to go into Coxmoor Cattery and Kennels up, Coxmoor, the top end of Kirkby, I think it's Derby Road, or one of the bypass roads that go around Kirkby. He was there for about 3 weeks until we got here and got set up and ready for him to come home, and he was very shouty. Apparently he got spoiled rotten at the Cattery where he was staying. The staff loved him. He was the longest stay that they had for a while. There was other pets, other cats in the same Cattery area as him, and he was the longest stay there because there were people for a few days, and so he got spoiled rotten, and coming home to us was exciting because he was very shouty, excited to see us. And for the first few months overnight, during the night, it was shouting and waking us up every couple of hours. So it was having to get used to a new setting, new setup, and trying to keep him in. That was exciting, because at every opportunity I wanted to go out, so we kept him in, obviously to make sure he knew where he was, and to make sure he'd come home. So we bought a cat harness to take him out on little adventures around the new area, which he didn't really like, because he wanted just to go out and explore as cats do. But we eventually decided to just suck it up and let him go out, and yeah, he was out for, I can't remember exactly, but it felt like forever, because it was the first time we'd actually let him out while we were here. So yeah, I was nervous, not knowing whether he was going to come back or whether he was going to try and go back to the old place. But yeah, he eventually came back, and which made me happy. So we let him out again at a later point that day, and he's been going out ever since. He loves the new area. He's made a couple of friends that he's still bossing about with here and there from what we've seen. And yeah, he's getting himself asleep now because it's cold out and the heating's on. But yeah, we ended up leaving Kirkby to a different place. The way we live now, we've kept it private, bar a few close people who know for visiting or what have you. But as for our actual address, we've kept that private from like the wider group of friends that we don't know, because we've had to cut certain people out of our lives a couple of years ago, back end of 2021 into 22, because there was a lot of issues with those people. And yeah, we've lived a pretty quiet life away from Kirkby, which has been nice, because Kirkby was going downhill, and moving to Mansfield was a no-go because of certain people. So yeah, it's been fairly quiet. A small circle of friends where we live now, and it's nice. It's nice to have a new place to live. It's a little 1-bedroom flat. It's a new build as well. It was finished beginning of last year, I think, 2022, mate. It was built just over a year ago, so we are the second people to live in this particular flat. And yeah, it's really nice. It's nice to have cheap energy bills compared to the old place we lived, which was an old mid-terrace 2-bed property, which was, I think it was about £180 a month we were paying, but now we're paying just over 100. But we're not using that much, and it's nice to have good energy bills. And I know some people are struggling out there because of how things are rising and what have you. So please don't take that as me bragging, because it's not brag. It's just me explaining. It's just me saying how nice it is in comparison to where we were before. So it's not a brag at us having cheaper energy bills, because it's not. We've been in a terrible situation before where it was really expensive to run, And yeah, so as I've said in the beginning of the video, I think I do tend to ramble and digress quite a bit, so it's a bit of a longer video than I intended because I ramble too much. Because I think anyone who's had a conversation with me will tell you the same thing, that I'll start talking about one thing, digress into another. So if I've sort of skipped over something in the video, that I know this video's not really made much sense because it's not been particularly about anything, but yeah, it's just a catch up of the last couple of years. So yeah, the next video that I will be covering properly as an actual topic rather than just rambling will be my life through drinking. So I'll be covering everything that I've been through during, so obviously long before I met my wife, and just my journey through drinking and everything that happened through those drinking years, and just everything that brought me up to up until this point, which I've started talking about, is everything from, like, say, from starting drinking to, I'm going to say, about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, which, again, this video has been about the last 2 years. So I mean, I'm rambling again, digressing, so I hope this video makes sense. I will be going through it before I post it, just to make sure I'm happy with it. And yeah, just bear with me while I get used to this whole YouTubing thing. But yeah, just to touch on the drink therapy of CGL, Change Grow Live. They are a fantastic service to use. I've found out about them through my GP because I wanted initially I wanted I went to the GP to find out what avenues I had with cutting down drinking and managing it and whatever, and they referred me to CGL, again, Change Grow Live, which, again, as I was saying about them, they are a great charity. I believe they are a free to use service, again being a charity. I will drop a link for those in the comments below. But one thing I will say is, if you are concerned about your drinking or drug use, whatever addiction, go to your GP, because, again, it varies from person to person. So if you are concerned about your drinking and your well-being through your drinking or drug use, whatever, speak to your GP, and they can hopefully find the best course of action for you, because it's a person-specific journey through what level you're at. So I know I'm not the worst person. I'm not. Let me just get that straight again. Sorry, I want to repeat that. While my experience with drinking wasn't as bad as some people have it, they were able to assess me. So again, your GP can assess you from about you and your journey. So they can advise you best. But if you want to contact CGL yourself, I'll drop a link below, and they will help you go through whether their service is right for you, or whether you need more intense or a more specialist therapy, type of therapy, should I say. So they should be able to help you point in the right direction as well if they're not suited for you. But yeah, they are a great charity. Again, I'll drop a link below in the comments, and And yeah, sorry if I've been a bit awkward during this video. Again, it's my first video, and just been a little bit nervous about doing it. Because again, this is my first video into the journey of my channel. So yeah, if you want to ask any questions about what I've been through, or just anything about what I've mentioned in this video today, then drop it a like, drop it a comment, any tips or anything different you do, whatever, just feel free to comment below anything that's on your mind, and please share it, and yeah, drop me a like, subscribe. It's really helped me out for upcoming videos, and thank you for watching. Bye.